Debit cards are the most commonly used form of payment. 24% of transactions are made with them. But how safe is it to have a debit card? Although the idea we had was one of security, keeping all your money there could be unsafe and expose you to financial risks. What's even worse is that you could lose all your money with so many banks going bankrupt. What can be done about it? That's why today I'm going to tell you why using a debit card in 2023 is a terrible idea. Let me ask you something. Did you know that due to inflation, banks are charging more and more interest on your accounts and your cards? Yes, you heard that right. Inflation is making your money worth less every day. What does this mean? A debit card is one that allows you to pay directly with the money you have in your bank account. It seems convenient and safe, right? Well, not so much. On the one hand, every time you use your debit card, the bank charges you a fee for the service, and that fee varies depending on the type of business, the purchase amount, or the time of day. So, you never know how much they're going to deduct from your balance. On the other hand, by using your debit card, you're losing purchasing power. Why? Because inflation causes prices to rise constantly, but your money stays the same. In other words, you can buy fewer things with the same amount of money over time. And if you keep your money in the bank, it doesn't help much either, because the interest they pay you is very low and doesn't compensate for the loss of value. Let me paint a scenario for you. Do you remember what happened with the Silicon Valley Bank phenomenon? Let's imagine you had all your money saved there, and you wanted to withdraw it all, but you couldn't. Why? Because the bank didn't have enough cash to give you. How is that possible? Well, because the bank operates with a system called fractional reserve banking. This means that the bank only keeps a portion of the deposits it receives, and the rest is lent to other people. This is how the bank earns interest on loans and can pay very small interest to depositors. However, it also means that the bank can't return all the money people ask for if many customers want to withdraw their funds at the same time. That's what happened with Silicon Valley Bank, which had a liquidity crisis and had to seek government assistance to avoid bankruptcy. I'm not saying that using banks is entirely bad, but I want to put things into perspective. Giving all your money to the bank is like shooting yourself in the foot. You'll always lose, whether it's through debit card fees, account management fees, or if the bank goes bankrupt. So, what can you do to avoid these problems? Well, it's best to use a credit card. Yes, you heard that right. A credit card allows you to make interest-free installment payments and take advantage of the offers and discounts that stores offer. Plus, when you use a credit card, you're protected against fraud and theft because you can cancel the transaction if you detect something suspicious. But it doesn't end there. Have you ever checked your bank account and seen that you've been charged twice for the same service, or tried to pay with your debit card and been told you don't have enough balance? This is probably one of the biggest problems with debit cards, and resolving it can take forever. Why? Because the money at stake is yours, and the bank cares very little about it and doesn't expedite the processes when it comes to your money. The opposite happens with a credit card. With a credit card, you're using the bank's money, and if there are double charges, it's their problem, not yours, because it doesn't directly affect you. If you're overcharged, you can claim, and they return the money to you as a credit. A debit card, when you run out of money, it's over, period. On the other hand, when you use a credit card, even though it has a limit that can be greater or less than the money you actually have in cash at the moment or in your bank account, you should know that with neither of the two cards can you spend more than you have. I'll explain it to you with an example. Credit cards are like a friend who lends you money when you need it, but then you have to pay them back with interest. With credit cards, you can buy whatever you want, even if you don't have a balance in your bank account, and then pay in installments or at the end of the month. This way, you have more payment flexibility and better budget management. Debit cards, on the other hand, are like your electronic wallet. You can only spend the money you have in your account, and every time you make a purchase, it's deducted instantly. Debit cards don't incur interest, but they do have fees and maintenance charges. Furthermore, they don't offer the flexibility or benefits of credit cards. What are those benefits? When you spend money with your credit card, you accumulate points that you can later redeem for airline tickets, hotels, trips. Who doesn't like that? Imagine an all-inclusive hotel in Cancun, cruises, and many other activities that end up being essentially free money. That's why I say that using a debit card is foolish. Why would you use a card that gives you absolutely nothing in return? And I want to emphasize that you must know how to use a credit card responsibly, because if you use it correctly by paying the full balance every month, you can even spend money that you don't necessarily have on hand at that moment because you have a credit line. I'm not saying you should get into debt with credit cards and carry balances to the end of the month. That would be a financial disaster. What I mean is that if you know that on, for example, the 15th, you'll receive a significant amount of money and your credit card billing cycle ends after that date, you might not be able to use that money with your debit card because it's not yet available in your account. However, a credit card would allow you to use it and pay it off after the billing cycle, but always before the due date. You should never go past the due date. That's where the danger of credit cards lies. The benefits of credit come with responsibilities. If you are irresponsible, instead of benefits, you'll have debts and many problems. Finally, and I believe this is the most interesting point for not using debit cards, it's because in today's financial system, one of the most important, if not the most important thing, is your credit score. Thanks to having a good credit score, you can take out mortgages for the house of your dreams or for an investment property, vehicle loans if you can't buy one in cash, and many other benefits that having a good credit score provides. But what credit score does a debit card give you? None. Zero. Debit doesn't build credit because using a debit card doesn't show anyone that you're responsible for paying anything. You simply pay directly with the money you have in your account. On the other hand, if you use your credit card correctly, paying the full balance every month and before the due date, this adds to your credit score and opens up a range of possibilities for continued growth in other areas with borrowed money from the bank. Neither card is perfect. Each has its advantages and disadvantages. That's why it's crucial to know how to handle each one correctly to get the most out of them and work towards achieving a millionaire mindset. If you're interested in learning more in depth, we recommend our Money Method training, where you'll learn the system to improve your personal finances and boost your credit score. I've provided the link to our training in the description. Now that you know this, please tell me below, what's the better payment option for you, debit or credit?